What's up, everybody? This episode of XIV Reborn is brought to you by Dark Souls 2. If you want to check it out and get 25% off on Dark Souls 2 for PC, just head on over to GameBreaker.tv/deals. We've got some other good deals, too. Just saying. We'll wait. What's up, everybody? Welcome to XIV Reborn, episode number 35 for April 25th, 2014. You're watching Game Breaker. I'm Garlean, and coming up on today's show, we got the producer's letter. Talks about Zodiac Weapons. Patch 2.25 makes PvP relevant. Psych. I'm lying. And Gama Sutra sits down with the Yoshi P. And joining me, as always, Mr. Happy, a.k.a. Mike.
I think it's closer to you joining me because it's been a while since we did the show together, Gary.
It is.
Last time we had you on, you just stuck around for the beginning. Everyone was already expecting you're going to leave me to my own devices here soon. I couldn't have the show without Gary.
I'm back. We're going to talk about some XIV. Mr. Byrne is away this week. I think he might be actually away for a couple weeks. I'm not sure of the exact timetable, but he had a theater. He's a big theater guy. You know, he's a magician. I think most people know he's a magician. He's also a big theater guy. And he had some big theater catastrophe thing with like some lead guy dropping out of a role. And guess who had to fill it? That would be the Mr. Micah Burns. So he's been like in rehearsal day in, day out, getting ready for some new show. So he'll be back.
We need to get a recording of him doing his part and play it on the show one week. On every show that he's on.
There you go, chat room and anybody watching this show. Start tweeting at Magic Man and demand that when he comes back, he sends some video footage of his part. He needs to explain why he has been away. That's I completely support.
Hey, he played a video of me last week. It's just my revenge.
There you go. I support.
There we go.
All right, let's talk about some Final Fantasy XIV. It's been a while, my friend.
It has been a while.
So Yoshi P just released the latest letter from the producer, and not surprisingly, Zodiac Weapons looks like it makes the top of this list here.
Oh yeah.
The Zodiac Weapon quest isn't finished in the game though right now, right?
No, there are currently 2 quests for it. The first one unlocks your Atma weapon, which is totally useless, and the second one makes your Atma weapon have stats, and it's the Animus quest. So the next piece of the quest we're waiting on is the Novus part of the quest.
Gotcha. So nobody can actually get the full Zodiac weapon at this point. So
nope.
Now patch 2.25, which we're going to talk about in a minute, was supposed to continue this quest line, correct?
Yeah, he said in the last live letter 13, that it was going to get continued in 2.25, and I was excited for it. But
seems things have changed.
A little bit, yeah.
What's going on? You're going to be sitting on Atma and book farming some more?
Oh, if I'm going for my second one, yeah. And I don't think I'm going to do that. There's no way. I have a sanity to keep in check. So,
what reason was given for the delay? He had a few, didn't he?
Yeah, he had a few. Some of them made less sense than others. Why don't we go through them real quick so that way we can break them apart.
All right, let's break all 3 of these down. All right, so here's the reasons. First, he said that many players still hadn't gotten their Animus weapon.
He said himself, not a lot of people are going to have this by the time we do the next part of the quest. And it's like, okay, I guess not a lot of you, but not this few. Just like a handful more, I guess.
Just need a few more. We just need a few more.
Just a few more, like dozen
so
more.
Are you not buying that one?
I'm not buying that one, man. It's just like, first of all, I see a lot of people working on the book section now, which is the second half of the quest. There are a lot of people who are at least very close, even if they don't have it all the way yet. You made a flat-out statement that not a lot of people were probably going to have this done. And your reason now is not a lot of people have it done, so let's push it back. I actually don't think that's an actual reason. I don't know why they put it there, but I think the next 2 reasons are far more accurate.
All right, let's go to the next one. What about, I know Byrne is still working on his books, right? Did you get yours? Did you get
Yes.
yours yet? Okay.
Mine is fully glowing, and I got it just in time for 2.25, just to find out it wasn't going to be getting any further in that patch, just in time.
It's bizarre. I don't understand it because he did it. I mean, he made the point of saying that they wanted a very small amount of players with Animus by the time 2.25 rolled around. That was the point.
That was the point, which is why I don't get. I literally don't see why they even put that there, because these next two reasons make a lot more sense than this first one.
All right. So you also said they wanted to incorporate feedback about how hard the quests were.
Hard or time consuming, I guess, is the question.
Why? What's going on there? They're not really that difficult. They're just very long.
Very time consuming and very random in nature. I guess.
Does that equal not a lot of fun? I sense there's not a lot of fun in that time commitment.
I had a lot of fun watching movies and listening to music and talking with people over Mumble while I grinded these. Yes, that part was very
Ouch! That bad, huh?
Yeah,
why? What's the deal? Break it down. What's going on? Or maybe people out there who aren't doing them.
So you do fates a lot. And eventually you'll get all 12 of your Atmas if you do the fates in all the zones. But the percentage drop rate, I think the most amount of time I spent in a single zone is 6 hours. I've heard people say that they've spent upwards of 20 or 30 hours trying to get a single Atma out of the 12. So, yeah, lots of fates, lots of grand companies, lots of ventures. At least we get to make use of the venture system a little bit. Got seals for days.
Is it more of a translation issue? Do you think he more means the uproar about how boring RNG-based Atma farming could be?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a mistranslation. I think that was just a nice way of saying, yeah, people really didn't like this, so we're going to incorporate, before we do this next part that I don't think you'll like the way it is anymore, I think we're going to take some of that feedback and make it a little bit more bearable. Because if they're incorporating feedback into the next step, that speaks for what the next step may have been if they had released it in 2.25.
So finally, Yoshi P says they want to increase the number of locations where items can be obtained for the quests.
And that in itself is the statement that made me believe what I just said about number 2. Because that sounds like very, very similar to step number 1 of the Atma quest. And I know
sounds like there's more RNG incoming.
Yeah, it's either that or they want people to have more options. I'm not leaning in that direction based on the way the quest has been thus far. I think it will be a bit more RNG. I think it will just be more bearable than the Atma farming was. That's the only thing I can really go off from this statement.
This is a pretty big misstep in your opinion, like where they've gone with this?
I'm just glad it's not the only option. It's just an option that a lot of people have chosen to hate and participate in. It's not the only option for a weapon, but it's a damn good option if you're not, getting lucky on Leviathan or clearing Coil yet. So I guess that's really in where the problem lies, is that the other gates are far harder to access through, I guess, content-wise, they're a little bit harder to access, whereas this is more of a time gate, how long it takes you to farm everything.
Does it sound like there's still like some sort of chance in the picture somewhere?
Oh yeah, as soon as I read number 2 and 3, I'm like, this was going to be another RNG grind. This was going to be like doing treasure maps for a chance at getting an item that you need to unlock it. Like, oh no, this is not going to be good. But I guess we can just wait for the patch that this is actually coming in just to see.
What the hell is a sphere scroll?
I don't know, but I got flashbacks of Final Fantasy X. I was like, oh no, don't tell me I'm going to have to move stuff and unlock stuff while I'm doing. I hope not. But unless it's not a lame way of upgrading, then I'll be okay.
So we have no idea what a sphere scroll is and how it pertains.
Absolutely not. Shouldn't have even said the word. Shouldn't have ever said that was the next part, because now everybody's coming together with theories about what it's going to be based on the other 2 statements. And
does that tie into something where what he means by multiple ways to obtain them? Does that tie in?
Yeah, I feel like it's just going to be, there's going to be some ways to get it that have lower drop percentages and some ways to get it that have higher drop percentages. That's just what I'm reading from this. I could be completely wrong, and I have been in the past. So, just please look forward to it.
So, if the quests are not going to make it in 2.25, I don't know, what would be your best guess of when we will see them?
He said 2.28. Yes, he said 2.28, which is scheduled for May. He didn't say when in May, but I'm guessing it'll be 2.26 in 2 weeks, 2.28 at the end of May, which would line up with the next live letter. So I'm perfectly okay with that. And there was even a small detail that surfaced about what the item level of the weapon will be. And if that source is indeed correct, it'll go all the way up to 115 with the Novus weapon, making it on par with the best weapons you can get from Binding Coil right now. So I guess we'll just have to really wait and see, because there's, I don't know, I don't think they're going to be making us do treasure hunts for an item level 115 weapon. Maybe it'll be more of participating in actual raids now for the next step, and it'll just be another gearing option through raids. Yeah, well, I got my wish about Gilgamesh, sort of, so maybe I'll get my wish about this too.
All right, also in the live letter, Yoshi P confirmed that the Order of the Blue Garter kill of turn 9 was in fact legit and the world first. Did anybody, you guys pretty much expected this, right? I mean,
yeah,
didn't you and Burn pretty much agree that it was legit on the last episode?
Yeah, I mean, the only way that wasn't world first is if one of them, you know, the Japanese free companies out there, they're more humble. They don't just flaunt whenever they get like a kill on something. It's usually found out by the community in some way or another that they killed it. So we just needed really official word from Yoshi P. And the video has been released too. You can see it's perfectly legit and everything. So yeah, I mean, congrats to them. We pretty much knew it was fact anyway, but we just got the confirmation, so it's good to have.
Has your FC down 9 yet? I know you guys are really close.
So close. So close. That fight is impressive on more than one front. Especially, it's more of a battle of endurance, because I don't think it's any secret at this point. The fight has a 13-minute time limit on it. If you don't win in 13 minutes, it's dead. And getting to the last 10 to 13 minutes over and over again is a matter of endurance. Like, it takes it out of you whenever you get 12 minutes into the fight and something goes wrong, because that means you get like anywhere from only 4 to 6 tries an hour once you're at that point, and just to try and practice the last couple of minutes. So it's really a test of endurance, and we're close, just not quite there yet.
How far? Well, if you had to make a best guess, do you think it's this week?
This week. It should be this week. I mean, with how close we've been getting, I would love to believe it's this week, as long as we're able to actually get in there and do it. If, like, no, there's no scheduling conflicts, I would love to believe it's going to be this week. If not, it doesn't really matter at this point. At this point, it's just clearing it to get it done. You know, once World First is off the table, you're just doing it to have fun. You know, just play to have fun.
Congrats again to BG.
Yes, congratulations to you guys.
All right, finally, Yoshi P talked about the PS4 launch a little bit. Also, he spent some time in China for the upcoming launch later this year. Got a little image here. This Burn is probably building this in his basement right now.
Yeah, well, some people could probably use a setup like that a little bit more, I guess. There's no bed behind that. There's no bed behind that wall, is there? No?
No.
There's couches in there.
Yeah.
But no bed. Okay, just making sure.
The setup they had for the China event has to have gotten you pretty pumped for some kind of fanfare, huh?
Well, I guess fanfare in China. I want fanfare here in North America. I'm just waiting for that. They keep saying, "Oh, remember that thing that I brought up?" Well, wait a little bit longer and you'll find out about it.
He did say details are coming soon on that, right?
Yeah, there's something we're going to talk about a little bit later in the show, but we actually got details today that we may even hear about it as soon as this weekend, because there is an event going on in Japan, and some of those details might translate to news for our fan festival here in North America. So I'm actually looking forward to this weekend finding stuff out.
So I'm curious what you think. Tell me about how you think the business models are going to work, because China is very different.
Yeah.
I don't know. You think China only servers?
I doubt that China's servers are going to get mixed in with ours. I mean, Japan has their own servers. China may even get their own client altogether. It wouldn't surprise me. It's happened in the past with other Chinese launches of games where they get their own client, their own servers, even their own models like pay to play versus subscription. Some games are subscription one place in the world and they're free to play in China. So I'm very interested to see if it stays subscription. I think recent interviews have shown that it will be. Yoshi P said that while it's definitely not a norm in China, that they will be maintaining the subscription model when they move over there. But I guess we'll have to just wait for more details from Shanda Games and Square Enix.
All right, so let's jump into the patch a little bit here. As promised, most of the patch did focus on PvP. Honestly, are you doing any PvP? I
PvP'd for the past 2 days.
Oh yeah.
When the queues would allow for it, I PvP'd for the past 2 days. I put a video out about it today. It's what I remember of it. It's fun when you do it, and it's not just one team gets slept and then just gets wiped the floor. It's actually fun when you're playing with somewhat evenly matched groups, even if the matches are sometimes a little bit quick. I had one match that was 7.5 minutes yesterday, but that was also not a level 50 match. I made a whole video today about every single problem I see with PvP right now, specifically in the Wolves Den. And I'm just hoping to see some of those things, some of the barriers for entry. Because I'm not rank 30, and I'm definitely not going to be rank 40.
I know. So, yeah, I think like, break these down. So the big point here, besides more gear for PvP, is that PvP rank cap has jumped from 30 to 40. I don't know, were there any other changes made?
Just not really. And I thought there were going to be a few minor changes to perhaps the queuing or benefits for queuing as 4 people as opposed to queuing.
Mm-hmm.
People are still abusing the good old queue as 3, get one random and hope the other team is made up of 4 pugs wearing full PvE gear. That's pretty much still the optimal way to farm it. I tried queuing as 4 yesterday, and I tried queuing as 4 when it first came out, and just so few people doing it. Just no interest in it. No point.
I don't know. It just seems kind of like, I don't know, just like a cosmetic type of change. Up the level, add more gear.
The gear does look really cool.
Get to grinding, all you PvPers.
For vanity, yeah, get to grinding.
Yeah.
And again, something we'll talk about later, but it was sort of mentioned earlier today that it was more or less just added as a grind, as for something for the PvPers to do now. Yeah, it was mentioned a little bit earlier, but I am looking forward to it actually getting a little bit more attention in the future. I just feel like it lacks a competitive reason to play, and that's the whole point of PvPing. Not just PvPing to kill people. That you wanted that we would want something maybe like a 1v1 duel.
Yep.
This is team-based arena combat. This, in my opinion, should be a little bit more competitive, and if all you're doing is grinding out levels to get more abilities and gear, what is that? What are those abilities and gear actually providing for your PvP experience? They're the end goal. They're not something you reach and then use that to play competitively against other teams. It's just really something I feel is absolutely missing. So just a grind for the time being.
All right, you think we're ever going to actually see Frontlines?
Yeah,
PvP?
We actually got some very exciting news about Frontlines today. It's still planned for 2.3, which is in 8 to 10 weeks. They said that they definitely ensured us that the barriers for entry won't be as high. You'll have all your PvP abilities regardless of rank, which is a big deal because that's, most games when you're gated in PvP, it's because you don't have the gear. In this game, you're also gated by not having the abilities because you're a lower rank. So that's definitely going to help. The points that you would have spent on your abilities can instead just be used to enhance them, which isn't major. Probably the one thing people will get is like cooldown reduction on abilities, or maybe a little bit more damage, and maybe even up their stats a little bit. And on top of that, you can respec in Frontlines anytime, anywhere, as long as you are not in combat. So the multi-class part of PvP, which isn't embraced at all in the Wolves Den, being multi-class in the Wolves Den is, you better have no plans for the next few months because you're going to be in there a lot. It's definitely a lot more accessible in Frontlines, but we got to see the whole picture. We got to see more. Those are nice details about barrier for entry and multi-class play, but we definitely, if they're going to take PvP seriously at any point in the development process, we need to see more.
That's what I want to know, right? Care. That's what I really want to know. I mean, we talked about Square, learning from their players and learning from everybody's experience in XIV before. I don't know. I don't. Do you really see PvP having a bright future in this game? I still don't see it.
I really feel like this whole ranking system needs to go away. This whole rank from 1 to now 40, it needs to go away because it's hard enough. It's already like, let's say there's even 10 to 15% of the community. Let's say there's 10 to 15% of the community that wanted PvP. To then take that 10 or 15% and say, okay, you cannot, if you're rank 30, you're not going to get matched against the first 15 ranks. I mean, that's fair. The first 15 ranked people probably don't want to play against the ranked 30 people. But there aren't enough 1 to 15 playing together, and then there are sometimes not enough 30s playing together, so queues are long. It just abolish it and just let everybody play, and just let gear be the one thing that differs players. Also, cut out that duo and triple queue crap. Get rid of it. Solo queue or queue is 4 people. I don't get what the... Sure, you get less rewards at 2 and 3 people, but you're going to stomp the other team most of the time anyway, or you're just going to go up against another group of people doing the same thing.
I'm watching chat room and just looking at the responses about PvP, and most of them are just, I don't PvP. I don't know. It just seems so lopsidedly kind of not what people want. Doesn't make sense.
I think Frontlines will be a little bit more fun, less of a competitive area. Still competitive in a sense, but not so much down to the individual as much as it is down to how many people are online when the other team isn't online. As World vs. World vs. World was in Guild Wars 2.
All right, I got a bunch of other stuff to go over here. First, I want to take a quick second to tell you about a great deal we got going on with another MMO. I know you guys are Final Fantasy fans, but some of you may be interested in the next big AAA MMO coming out from Carbine called WildStar. You can pre-order the game right now and get 20% off, which is like a lot of money. It's like $15 if you, depending on what version you buy. So it's not. It's a really good deal, saving 20% off of this. All you have to do is go over to GameBreaker.tv/deals. If you're not into the Wild, so there's a bunch of other deals over here. We've got a deal right now. If you guys are, this one's going away really quick, but we've got a 25% off Dark Souls 2 if you haven't picked that up yet. That's good through the weekend, but I think that's going away by like Sunday night maybe, so I don't know if that'll still be available. But if you guys haven't checked out this page yet, check it out. Every day there's new deals. So there's tons of other stuff up here at Battlefield and Far Cry 3 down for $6 and Total War Collection. So every day there's a new deal on here, at least one deal per day. But I know a lot of the MMO peeps on GameBreaker are looking forward to WildStar, so I want to save you guys and get some money off. So we got a great deal going on with them right now, 20% off. So just go over to GameBreaker.tv/deals and look around. You'll see the WildStar right there on the front page. And if not, maybe you'll find something else on there you like. So really good deal. All right, so Mysteria. Mysteria.
Spider-Man? Mysterio?
Spider-Man. Mysterio has got the transmutation system added. No, Materia had the transmutation system added.
Yes.
So you'll have to be level 19 to do the quest to open it up.
But
bad. Explain to me, what the hell is the actual system?
So, you know all those crappy materia that you've been getting while you've been leveling up? You know, you had your first class every time that you were done using a piece of armor, you converted it, turned into fire 1 materia, you threw it in your bags, never touched again. Well, now you can take all that bad materia and you can go trade 5 pieces into an NPC, and you will get back 1 piece of materia that is random. Now, that 1 piece can be of the same grade, it can be of a higher grade. It can be the same materia that you traded, it can be a different materia that you traded. You don't know. The NPC even tells you he doesn't know. He's just like, whatever, I'll do it. And that's all it does. that's
it?
The whole system. That's it. There you go.
Tell me about this, because what I heard, materia can be actually pretty beneficial in PvP and crafting gear, but what about, how about in PvE? Particularly endgame PvE gear.
Materia is good for entry-level rating gear. Every other patch, there's basically a set of gear that is good for getting into the raids until you start getting your higher item level stuff. It's a bit of an investment, depending on what server you're on and how lucky you are with the pentamelding aspect of it. But yeah, for the most part, very underwhelming in PvE, which is kind of why I was expecting. I wasn't expecting materia transmutation. They said we're making additions and adjustments to the materia system, and adjustments was not the right word. Additions, sure, but meaningful ones, I question that.
All right, a few quality of life changes were also made. So melee and ranged DPS now show their own timers in the Duty Finder queue. Nice little quality of life change.
Good to know how long I'll be standing around. Awesome.
Hey, you didn't even know you got to go to take a bio break or get a cup of tea. There you go.
WC.
There you go. A player feedback item made it to challenges will now display a message when nearing completion, so you can get the experience bonus onto a class that actually needs experience.
Yeah, that was a thing that would happen a lot. You'd be on your level 50. You're just doing some dungeons. All of a sudden, hey, here's 80,000. Oh, you're max level. All right, well, here's 1,000 gil. Instead, you could just log over to. You're like, oh, I did 4 dungeons. Let me switch over to my paladin, do the 5th dungeon, and get this whatever XP it is at whatever level you are. Like if you're level 15, it's probably like 7,000-8,000 XP or something like that. But it's just a nice heads up instead of just wasting all that XP on your max level jobs. I do it for the gil, so I don't care. But there's another interesting thing there too. They now, and I think this is coming in 2.3. They mentioned while they're talking about showing completion. Fates are going to show completion soon. When you hover over them on the map, you'll be able to see. I don't think that was in the 2.25 because I haven't done any Fates since then, so I don't think so. Pretty sure it was mentioned on the dev post that while they're working on showing progress before something's complete, Fates came up and that you'll be able to see the progress of them before you actually get there. You just hover over on the map. So very interested to see more of this. I like to see more information. I just don't like to see plain text that says, hey, that's what's over there. That's it. Go find out.
The patches themselves are actually pretty short.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to be a big patch. I think 2.15 kind of caught us by surprise with what it actually did. But this was more of just here's a few more things, a few adjustments, and you're good to go.
Yeah,
we'll see
bug fixes. There's some bug fixes in the whole turns 1 through 5 buff going up. But if you aren't a PvPer, there's really not a whole much listed here. So not too much. That said, if you found anything hidden, have you found anything like hidden in the patch so far? I don't know. I know Yoshi P loves to sneak little things in. Maybe an Atma drop rate change or anything?
It's funny. Anytime anything comes up about Atma and the drop rate or any sort of theory as to getting them quicker, I'll look on my Facebook and it'll be there and someone will say that they tried it and it worked for them. And I think you're going to see a few posts about Atma drop rates going up from this patch. It's literally just a few people getting out there and actually trying again for like an hour. Some of the people who get lucky tell you they got lucky, and then it just spreads because everybody wants to be able to participate in Atmas. Most people just can't stomach grinding Fates for that long.
All right, last of this week, Yoshi P sat down with the Gama Sutra. It was a pretty interesting interview, even though very little of it focused on the game's content or upcoming features. They really got into why Square Enix decided to rebuild the original failure that was XIV. Yoshi P said that before that they did it to rebuild trust in the franchise. They need to do that, but he got pretty in depth here, didn't he? He really kind of went down the rabbit hole a bit.
Yeah, and every time somebody really asks him about why they did it, he kind of shows a more emotional side of himself as the producer and director, and how you really see that it's an extension of his want to really like stomp, like make a what's the word I'm looking for? Gary, you're good with words. Come on, you know what you're good with words. I know you are. Come on.
Words.
He's just trying to make his mark.
Words.
There you go. Words. Just no words.
He's trying to build his trust. They wanted to build. They needed to get some clout. They need to like build it back up. They knew a lot of people, especially in the MMO space, really didn't like them after that.
Yeah, well, can't really blame them. I remember being so excited when they announced that they sold 600,000 copies of the original 14 within the first weekend, and then I played it, and I was like, that is definitely not gonna. No, there's no way 600,000 people are gonna play this game. I'll be lucky if I see 6,000 people play this game.
Tell me this, be honest, if they never rebuilt XIV, would you as a Final Fantasy fan have decided to never play another Final Fantasy game?
No. I think and this is just my own personal opinion, that the 13 series would have been closer to doing that for me. And I don't think the 13 series was particularly bad. It was just, to me, underwhelming as a series. That series did more damage to me than I think the original 14 did. 14 just told me that unless I see something really impressive, I'm not going to play a Square Enix MMO ever again. If Dragon Quest X came over here right after I played 14, I'd be like, nope, not touching it. That may even be a reason why we haven't seen it here yet. Because they were like, nope, don't even put it out there yet, because no one's going to buy it after that. So wait till Realm Reborn comes out and people are interested in Japanese MMOs again, and then we'll do that.
One thing that we talked about really early on in the podcast, really early episodes of this show, is how Square Enix seemed to really just shift in their culture since a Realm Reborn. You've just seen a much more communication now. I mean, you guys had some of the team on the show a week or two ago. Something we're not used to really seeing out of Square Enix. So they definitely had a big shift. And I think that's such a huge draw for games now, like publishers and developers communicating with the players, not just trying to push boxes, but actually, past the point of sale. I don't know, like it or not. They definitely helped. I think they really built back that trust. I think this was the right way for them to do it. They really built back that trust to the point that, I don't think we've ever seen a company kind of come from the ashes like that and actually build this thing back up. Even their PR guy chimes in at the end of the interview and said he talks about how the culture shift was happening in a lot of the Square Enix devs teams, not just the Final Fantasy XIV team. So this was a overarching, like, almost global thing, I would imagine.
Yeah, and I mean, they needed it. They've pretty much just been locked away. I mean, and even you can look back at Final Fantasy XIV's first launch on how they handled that. All the feedback they got just got ignored. Straight up. Like, they had alpha and beta tests for absolutely no reason. There were so few changes from the earlier versions of it to the actual launch. And that was probably the first game where I finally started saying, yeah, I'm not going to say this is just beta, it's going to get better anymore. I'm not going to say that for any game ever again. That's just, I'm not, that murdered this game.
Yep.
They're actually trying a lot hard. I mean, it even goes down to they have a team now of their most trusted, like, people within the company to do quality assurance on every title they launch now. I mean, that speaks miles for itself. First of all, I don't know why they didn't have that in the first place, but it's like, oh no, don't test for quality, just put it out there.
Even talking about communication, like I said, you guys had the North American community team on a few weeks ago, and they originally on the show, if you guys didn't watch it, you should go watch it. It was really good. But they originally wanted to talk about a new show that they were planning on doing, but it wasn't actually ready. But it is ready now. So they've got a show called Duty Commenced.
Yes,
and it's hosted by the North American community team. So you guys should check that out. First episode aired earlier today, right?
Yeah, that's what I keep referencing. Information we heard today, that's from that show. It was mostly an introduction show, let people know who they were and what they were planning to do with the show. That they were gonna go over a few things that have been hot topics on the forums, and that they're looking to in the future do a lot more with the show. Get some information get the green light to talk about unreleased information and do some maybe live streaming of the game where they like invade a random server and they get people to come by or something like that. And of course, like the Frontlines information we got today, that was, nobody knew that before today. So it's just a nice little show to sort of connect with Square Enix in another way. And they were just tons of fun. They started the show speaking entirely in Japanese just to throw people off.
Nice.
I thought that was hilarious. And they also had like a nice little UI with their names in the party menu for Final Fantasy XIV with the duty, the actual like time left in the duty and things like that. They had a limit break bar, which didn't make sense because they didn't have 4 players in the party, but it can be forgiven.
Yeah, so it's on, if you guys missed it, I don't know if the VOD is available. I'm sure it is somewhere, or they're going to post it, I would imagine. But their Twitch channel is twitch.tv/Final Final Fantasy XIV. So it's pretty easy to. That is their Twitch channel where they're doing it. So I don't know when the next episode is going to be. The first episode aired earlier today on Friday. So keep that locked in. Maybe the VOD's up there on Twitch. You can go check that out, or I'm sure they're probably going to post it somewhere. Last up this week, it wouldn't be a Yoshi P interview without someone asking about subs versus subscriptions. I don't know So what did Yoshi P have to say this time around on the topic? Anything new?
It's pretty much the same thing he said at GCD, and I believe you were at GCD, if I'm not mistaken, just a couple of weeks ago. Just there's room for every model, and that each model has its own advantages and disadvantages. He feels that the advantages of the subscription model, where you get a steady amount of money, you know you're going to be able to pay your development team month by month to develop more content to keep bringing in the subscriptions. He feels that model works very well, and that he doesn't say he prefers it, but that he pretty much says it without saying it, where he's like, yo, if you don't have subscription models, then you have to worry about this, and you have to worry about developing stuff for a cash shop, and you can build a game around it, but it's not always the best thing in terms of development. So he almost says he prefers it, and without actually saying it. So same old thing.
Michael Poveromo, follow him on Twitter at Mr. Happy1227. Make sure to go over and check out his YouTube channel of all his Final Fantasy XIV content over there as well. Always a pleasure, sir.
It's good having you back, Gary.
Thanks, buddy. Good to see you. You can follow me at Gary Gannon, follow Gamebreaker TV, Gamebreaker TV. Check out our new not Facebook page, our new Twitter page, actually. Twitter.com/ it's at Gamebreaker TV. We got the new layout, and I love it. It's like what Facebook should be. It's so much better. It's actually great. Check it out. And if you haven't followed us, make sure to follow us at Gamebreaker TV. All right, usually we do the show live on, God, what is it? Tuesdays, right? Tuesdays?
Yeah, Tuesdays.
Yeah, Tuesdays. I've been out of the loop. So we'll be back on Tuesday for next week. Got a little bit of a shift in days this week. And we'll see you next week. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week for some more XIV Reborn. Have a good one.